Okay, before we get into the video, this is for educational and informational stuff. It is not to indoctrinate children. It is not anything. If you are not okay with the LGBTQI play plus, please skip this because it is still going to be posted. And if you have a problem with that, you do not belong on my channel because it is an LGBTQ plus safe space for all of everyone to just be safe and vibe in like fictional characters and fictional yanderes. Obviously. If you do not like that, you can leave now because this channel is just not for you then. And also, again, this is not to indoctrinate children. It is just speaking of my experience of what I am in the LGBTQIA, and also an announcement that to spread awareness that not all asexuals are sexually attracted to, or not all of them are sex repulsed, and not all of them can be asexuals are lack of or no sexual attraction. You can still be sex favorable and enjoy sex or have a slight attraction. It's a spectrum, and that's just the announcement to explain it this year. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed. On to the video. Hello, my sexy muffins, and happy Pride Month! So it is Pride Month, and this is my yearly announcement of what has gone on in my life with Pride and the yearly announcement of not all asexuals, demisexuals, people under the ace umbrella or arrow umbrella do not have to be attracted romantically or sexually to have relationships. You can be arrow ace and still have connections with someone, and you can just vibe with them. You can be asexual and still choose to have sex acts. You can be arrow romantic and still be sexual. There's a lot. It's a spectrum. So we're going to get into that along with a few other things. So let's do this. And first of all, I hope that you're all having a great Pride and that you're safe. If you are not able to come out at this time and you are in not the best situation to be as proud as you want to be, then put your safety above all else. You don't have to come out. You have plenty of time to come out. Your safety is the first thing that matters. And my heart goes out to you and your safety and hoping that you are safe and sound. Anyways, let's do this. So the first thing is discussing my sexuality. So last year I figured out I was demisexual and panromantic. Now, short thing on my journey, it was at first I thought I was like straight. Well, because I thought I was straight, then I thought I was either a lesbian or bisexual, and then the opposite of that with being bisexual or lesbian. And I can't remember exactly. It's been a long journey, 20 plus years, almost 30 years. Oh God, I'm an old lady. Anyways, so after that, I thought I was pansexual because it made sense. I didn't like see gender. It was mostly a vibe check. For me, pansexuality is and bisexual are the exact same thing, except for pansexual in the way I define my pansexual, well, panromantic now, when I was pansexual, is just a vibe check. Literally, if I like your personality and like you as a person, yeah, I'm going to be attracted either romantically or at the time I thought sexuality, because I didn't know what demisexual was. Fast forward to last year, I figured out what demisexual was. Thank you, a one topic at a time. You are fabulous because you opened it up and I learned a lot, and I'm now more happy than ever. One topic, you are amazing. But the point being that I ended up figuring out that I was demisexual, and I was demisexual for my partner, and I was panromantic because I didn't know that you can be a different romantic than your sexuality. Like you can be hetero-romantic, but also different sexual. Like it's a wide thing. It's very complicated, but it makes sense for when it finally clicks for you. Like this makes sense of who I am. Yes. So with that, I also figured out through the Reddit communities of demisexuality and the asex and ace on Reddit that I also have fictophilia, which is basically a kink for fictional characters. Because there's fictosexuality and fictoromantic, where you are either romantic or sexually attracted to fictional characters, which is a thing. And I very much have a kink for fictional characters where I use them in role plays and stuff to get off my high libido because they're hot. But when I think of their actor or voice actor or whoever plays the role of these fictional characters, I'm like, ew, no way. And if they were real, like, let's use Iron Man as an example, I would smash him in fiction, definitely. But if he was a real life character like Iron Man, Tony Stark was a real life character, it'd be, I'd do you for experience because you're a billionaire and also a superhero, but I'm not that attracted to you if you are real. So it's very much, when they're fiction, it's like a safe boundary for me that I can simp over them and think of them in this way without there being sexual attraction itself. But if they were real, it'll be meh, I'll do you for the XP points basically, but that's it. And then there is the cupiosexual, which I enjoy the physical act of sex without sexual attraction. I don't have to be sexually attracted to someone to enjoy the physical act of sex. And to give a little background information, I am hypersexual due from trauma and PTSD of sexual abuse as a child. 7 to 9, I was forced upon by a family member in full on penetration and such, ruining me. But also, it caused trauma where I now have hypersexuality and I naturally have a high libido. So it makes it very uncomfortable. So I took back the control for adult fun time myself and use now adult fun time as taking back control and having control over my life. Now, it's not good for everyone, and we're going to get to the spectrum of asexuality and demisexuality in a second. But yes, that's basically it for me. Now onto the ace spectrum and demisexuality spectrum. There are sex repulsed and people who can live without sex and are like sex is gross to them, or sex they're not interested in at all. There's that far left side. And then there's the far right side, which is I enjoy the physical act of sex without sexual attraction. I like sex, casual sex, and I like the physical act of sex even without being attracted to this person. That with asexuality and demisexuality and others under the ace umbrella is where you can fall anywhere between those things and you can have different levels of libido. Like there are some sex repulsed asexuals who have super high libidos and are horny all the time but don't want anything to do with sex, and it's very uncomfortable. Then you have people who are sex favorable and have really low libido, and it frustrates them, especially when they have a partner, when they're demisexual and they can't get up to stuff with their partner. It's a very wide spectrum, and it's not all black and white. And again, sex is a choice. You choose to have sex. Sometimes that choice is forced upon you by someone else, and they're horrible people for that. But sex is a choice. Take example, gay men who come out in their 50s and 60s as gay, even though they've had a wife and like 3 or 5 kids, basically. They did have sex with their wives, and that didn't make them any less gay men. It just made them closeted gay men that were living basically not as their authentic self. And that's basically choice of sex. Straight people do it too. They choose to have sex when drinking and stuff, even if they're not sexually attracted, or the ones who try to make relationships work, or baby trap, or whatever. There's a lot of ways where people choose to have sex when it clearly there's no attraction, romantic or sexual left, and they're just trying to make things work. Sex is a choice. It is a choice that we should all have the freedom to make if we want to. The sex repulsed asexuals that don't ever want to have sex, that is fine. That is fine, hunky dory. So I fall in the spectrum of sex favorable, cupiosexual, where I enjoy the physical act of sex and casual sex. But ever since I've been with my partner, they have been the only ones that really get me off because I'm demisexual. So all my sexual attraction, it is only really as good with my partner, and we live in different countries. So it gets a little frustrating at times not being able to be with them intimately. But we do role play with fictional characters, again, fictophilia, and seeing the love of my life being plowed by fictional characters where I'm role playing as that fictional character is super sexy, honestly. Oh my god, it is chef's kiss. And yeah, that's where I fall in that. And that is enough to get me going, and I don't need to have casual sex anymore because I am loyal to them, even though we're in a polyamorous relationship, and I do talk to them ahead of time if I do have casual adult fun time. We talk about it ahead first and are always open about it. They have also a boyfriend in one of the states here in the USA that they have met online as well, that they're also phone sex with, which is fine. They can do that because we're in a polyamorous relationship, and I know, and I'm secure in knowing that they love me and I love them, and that we are happy the way we are. Now, they have to be honest with their new boyfriend, and I don't know if they have been. I'm not going to push that, but they have to be honest with that boyfriend, which is what that set up, like, this is a relationship I have. So that's their business, but I will stand by that. I trust my partner 100%. 100%. Anyways, so that's that. Now, and again, asexuality, just because someone is asexual doesn't mean they're sex repulsed, because they can be sex favorable, or they can choose to have the physical act of sex, even though it's not usually for them, for their partner, because their partner wants to have adult fun time. And that way, it's a choice. It's a choice. You don't need to be sexually attracted to someone to have sex with them, and you do not need to be interest, and you don't have to be. And you basically, if you're asexual, you're not having to be sex repulsed like everyone assumes that asexuality is. No, asexuality and demisexuality and everything under the ace spectrum, ace umbrella, is a spectrum, and that is that. Bottom line. Anyways, that's my announcement. I hope that you all enjoyed, and I hope that you all feel a bit safer. This is an LGBTQIA plus safe space. And here's the last announcement before I do the outro. If you're a MAPS, a minor attracted person sexuality, and you want to be part of the LGBT, you can go frick yourself, honestly. And if you're a MAP, you don't belong on this channel. MAPs are disgusting human beings, and saying that it's a sexuality when you're just a pedo, you don't belong here. Bottom line. You don't belong here, and if I catch you here, I'm just going to block you. And if you are one, block yourself from me so I don't have to see your face. I have been abused of an adult who was a minor attracted person, air quotes around that because that's bullshit. And it took away my childhood and made me hypersexual. And now when I have trauma with adult fun time, I feel disgusted with myself and don't want to be touched. But also I have such arousal that it makes me physically ill with myself and disgusted that I'm so aroused even after I've been forced upon in my adult life. And that is because an abusive family member who molested and forced me. 3 years. Now, I'm going to have to put, this is not going to be having ads on it because it has a lot of adult themed stuff and all that, but yeah. This is warning. I'm going to have to put a warning at the beginning, but this is mature topics, and it's not going to be directed at children. I'll have it marked to be not directed at children for obvious reason because we don't do the indoctrination. Anyways, I hope that you all enjoyed this video. Thank you, Gav, for being my first patron. You are fabulous, and you are wonderful. Mwah, chef's kiss. And thank you, Wicked Brony, for being my second patron. You are just as fabulous, just as wonderful. Thank you. And I hope that you all enjoyed, and happy Pride. And stay sexy, all my sexy muffins. Bye-bye. Secret outro. Secret outro of the day. So, it's Pride Month, and just say how you would celebrate Pride if you are celebrating Pride. You don't have to celebrate Pride if you don't want to, but I'm going to celebrate Pride by obviously doing LGBTQ plus characters and listeners to make it more inclusive to my LGBTQ plus listeners and ones that want characters that are LGBTQ plus. Anyways, I hope that you all enjoyed and stay sexy on my sexy muffins. Bye-bye!